Hello again, viewers, and greetings, fellow space travelers. This is Thorn of Night, and welcome to part 4 of my Minecraft mod guide for the mod called Mariculture, which adds all kinds of awesome stuff to the oceans, including coral, which has really grown since I planted it there. But we're not here for the coral this episode, or this part, whatever you want to call it. Today, we're going to be covering machines. Some of the machines that I have not yet covered from any of the previous parts, as well as a few new blocks that are to be added to the list of things for decoration purposes. I also have a bit of good news, which I will get to. Why are these signs blinking? Anyway, a bit of good news that I will be getting to later on in the episode. Regarding aluminum and a way to actually make the Mariculture aluminum ingots that I was not able to successfully do before, but now apparently with the 109 update for the monster mod pack, which is what I'm doing this guide in, has made it so you can actually make the ingots. But I am also going to be ending the episode on another confusing point, but we will get to that at the end. First off, we're going to start off with something called a storage bookshelf, and it looks just like a bookshelf, except you can store stuff in it. It's like a chest, only it has just 9 spots. And the recipe for that is you need to use 5 regular bookshelves, a chest, and any 3 wood planks. And that'll get you 1 of those. Next up, the automatic dictionary converter. And this is the solution to the aluminum. First off, the recipe for it requires a pearl, doesn't matter what color, a book and quill, 2 feathers, a wooden construction block, which I went over in the first part of the series, and any 2 copper ingots. And what it does is any items that you put in here will get converted to whatever version of that item you put up here. If you put in an item here without something up here, it'll just spit out the same item on the output. Also, it works with a chest. So let me go ahead and grab a chest. But basically, if I toss this copper ingot in here, this thermal expansion copper ingot, it outputs the thermal expansion copper ingot. And just to show you the chest functionality, it outputs directly to an adjacent chest or inventory. But let me get this chest back out of here and go ahead and grab these. There we go. So, if I put a bunch of stuff in here, like that, you can see that it is making the exact same items that I put in. However, if I just take one of these guys, say this copper ingot from Industrial Craft 2, and I put the items in, it will turn all of these individual copper ingots into Industrial Craft copper ingots. Now, there's one other thing that was not working properly before, but is now, or wasn't turned on, or whatever. But if you left-click on the item that you put in, you can go through several versions of that ingot depending on where it is in the ore dictionary. So if I put in a Calcavia core copper ingot, it won't let me change it to any of the others. Let me just be sure on that just to show you. Copper ingot. Which one was it? This one? Calcavia core. Alright. So if I clear that out and put this guy in and then click on it, it doesn't change. So the earliest one in the dictionary, more than likely the magical crops one on this list, will be able to cycle through to any ones that you do not have a copy of on you. So if I take a Tinker's Construct aluminum ingot, which is real easy to get, and I put it in here like that, and I click on it once, I get the Mariculture version, and voila, Mariculture aluminum ingots. So you can use this to start crafting your sheets of aluminum, which is awesome. So there's a solution to that for everyone who is trying to get that to work. There you go. Use that method. Ingot, left click, and there you go. Anyway, next up is an interesting dynamic for making your own little custom blocks. But first we're going to need the way to make them, and that is something called planning chalk, and it requires 2 limestone. Any limestone will do apparently, and some sort of white dye or bone meal or whatever, and you'll get 1 of these planning chalks. Then you are going to need these things called plans, and they're just blank when you make them. It takes a piece of paper, some sort of blue dye here and here, and some sort of black dye here. You'll get these things called blank plans. Now let me go into non-creative mode. There are a few different things that these plans can make, and you can have the plan anywhere in your inventory for this to work. But if you come up to any of these varieties of blocks, you can get a new plan out of it. The first one I have here is carpet, so if I right click on it, I will get a flooring plan. Then this one will give me a block, and any block will do. Next one is stairs. Come on. There we go. It's stuck. So you get the stairs plan, a slab plan, then there's fence, gate, wall, any sort of light source will get you a light plan, and any of these energy cells. I've only gotten it to work on energy cells, like the thermal expansion ones, but you do that, and you'll get this thing called redstone flux block. It took me a while to figure out what I needed to get this, but there you go, redstone flux block plan. Now, one thing to note, if you're using this, it needs to be empty, because if it is emitting light, like it has energy in it, instead, you will get the light plan. So it has to be empty and not outputting light of any sort in order to actually get the block out of it. And just to show you, even though that's leadstone, that's resonant, if I grab an empty resonant ender cell here and place it down like that, as you can see, I got the redstone flux block. So that is how you get the plans. Now, what are these plans good for? Glad you asked. Let's go over to this next item. Actually, let me offload this stuff. Here, that works. Don't need these anymore. All right. This next thing is called the sawmill. And what the sawmill is, where did it go? I know for sure I put it in here. I'm having some issues with the recipes disappearing. No, I wanted to hit recipe. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. You're going to need an axe, regular iron axe, some sort of log, 2 slabs, a wooden construction block, which I also went over in the first part of the series, and 2 copper ingots, and that will get you one of these things called a sawmill. Now, the sawmill has this configuration here, and if you count, you'll see that there are 6 items, and you look carefully, you'll realize that if you fold all these together, it makes a box. And what you do with this, let me take this item out of here and put that away. If I put in, say, a fence in here, and I get some blocks, let's grab stone, grass, magenta wool, spruce wood, cactus, and TNT. That works. And I put these items in here. Once I have all 6 of these spots filled, and it doesn't matter, you can have them all the same if you want, it will start crafting the item that you put in. So fence will craft fence. And then if I take this fence and I place it down, you'll see that it's TNT, spruce, cactus, dirt, magenta wool, and stone on the bottom was the orientation for that. One other thing to note about the blocks that you craft with this is that all you have to do to harvest them is punch them. They will retrieve the exact item that you put down, or the exact data that's on it as you put it down or left it. So let's see here. You can see that the orientation of the items is actually saved, and you can see that there. So that's the way to actually make the blocks, and the upgrades as part of Mariculture do work in here. If I took these out and just gave myself, say, some grass and put the grass in here, and it does use up the items, you can see that it is notably slower for crafting it. So if I put them all three in, it speeds it up, and that's the ultimate heating upgrade there. So, oh, that's because they're different. But that is what you do with the sawmill. Now, what you can make with the sawmill, obviously, are those same items. The flooring, the block, the stair, the slab, the fence, the gate, and the wall. Now, the fence, gate, and wall do not connect, or rather, the fence and the wall do not connect to anything. So, watch out for that, or at least they don't connect to blocks you'd expect them to. If I put the same things next to each other, yes, they do connect that way. But let's get rid of those. Whoops. Put that back, grab this, fill the hole. All right. Anyway, the fence, the gate, the wall, the light block, and if I make it nighttime, you'll see what I'm talking about here. It will, oh, I also have to take this off. It will emit light, and just so you can see that it is not coming from that or that, this is the actual block emitting the light right here. So I'm going to go ahead and break that, and darkness. So the item that you make isn't crafted after what you get the light from. It is just a block that emits light. And then there is the energy one, which has a capacity of 1000 RF. Not all that much, but it's just a block that you can disguise, and I will get to that in the next block here. I'll just keep the dirt. The next thing in this item functionality is called the Paintbrush. Now the Paintbrush, let me go ahead and grab these custom lights, which I will need. The Paintbrush is crafted by using a sawmill, a block of aluminum, and 3 wool. It doesn't really matter what color, and you'll get this thing called a paintbrush. Now, what the paintbrush does, let me go back into non-creative mode, is if you take the paintbrush and right-click on, or shift right-click rather, on a surface of any type of thing in the game, and then walk up to one of your custom blocks, you can make the surface become that. So if I come over here and grab a grass, then we get grass, and this is the biome color shading. If I take the lever here, lever, and you can keep painting over. Now it does have a durability on it, so watch out for that. A couple ideas of things that you can do with it. Have barrier flowers or decorations that you can't walk through by making another invisible one on top or something. And it can be used for making a guided tour or whatever. But do keep in mind that these break really easy with just your fist. You can see how I almost broke it right there. Also, just to show you, when you gather it, it doesn't show up in your inventory. Anything that you paint yourself, it is unnamed, and it keeps all of its data, but You cannot find it. It doesn't matter what you paint it as, it is invisible. Speaking of invisible, if you shift right click on any of these blocks, it will make air. So what you can do is make a sort of walkway that is see-through. Now you are going to have to make sure all the surfaces have been properly painted. Otherwise, at different angles, you will still see the walkway, but you can make one of those sort of invisible pathways, which is really interesting. Speaking of invisible, another idea of something you can do with it is, you'll see I have blocks here. I have 9 of them, a 3x3 thing. I got this idea from another YouTuber whose name I don't remember right now, and I can't find what video it was. But if you color all the sides but one, you can have a one-way mirror. How's that for awesome? So you can have a little room where things get trapped in. You can see in, but they can't see you. It could also work for players. Another functionality of this paintbrush is, say you have a walkway that you don't want to dress up with big gaudy lights sticking out of the ground and torches everywhere and things like that. If I take these light blocks like this and make it nighttime again, and take the scuba mask off, you will see that they are putting out light. But I don't want them to look like that. I want them to look like the neighboring blocks. So you can disguise light. It's really neat. But that is what the paintbrush is used for. And on to the next thing. After I put this away, I'll just leave this off because it seems to be dying. The next thing are pearl bricks, and I could have gone over this when I did jewelry, but I wanted to do this in this episode. Take any 4 of the same pearls that you get from oysters, and you can make a brick of that color. And the colors are the same as the 12 different colors of the pearls that you get. There's yellow, orange, gold, red, brown, red, brown, purple, black, blue, pink, silver, green, and white. So those are the 12 pearl colors. Useful for decorations. I really like the gold one. It looks neat. The silver one, however, it doesn't look as impressive. It just looks like stone. But anyway, moving on to the next item, we have the Aquatic Backpack. And that is crafted using 2 wool, a chest, 4 string, and any 2 of the Mariculture fish. It won't work with the vanilla fish, but any of the Mariculture fish, doesn't matter what combination you use, will work. And what it is a backpack that you can store 15 items in, and you can make it so it won't automatically slurp or be interacted with when it's in your inventory. You can make it so that it is set for sending and receiving, or you can just leave it blank like that. And then there is the woven aquatic backpack. Oh, I guess I should mention these 2 backpacks will only hold some of the things from only the Mariculture mod. It doesn't work with all of the stuff. It's mostly the fish-related things. But the woven aquatic backpack is crafted using the carpenter from forestry and pulsating dust from forestry. If you don't have forestry installed, then this will do you no good. But it also requires diamond, 1 bucket of water, and some power. And you'll get a woven aquatic backpack, which is just like the regular aquatic one, only it has 45 slots instead of 15. So that is that. And once the carpenter would receive power, it automatically craft it using these supplies. But the next thing, and this is a little bit hard to get, but it's called the Mechanized sponge. Yeah, the recipe's in there. The Mechanized sponge is crafted using water bottle, 2 water droplets, which you get from doing your fish breeding and all that. So I'll be getting to that in the fish breeding episode. A titanium ingot, an iron construction block from part 1 of the series, and 2 sponges, which you can, thanks to this mod, find in the oceans of the world. However, they are exceptionally rare. Uh, I have yet to find one. And I have looked and looked and looked and looked. I even spent a lot of time trying to find some authentically World Gen ones, and none. So if you find one, you are very, very lucky. But basically what this does is if you take the mechanized sponge and place it in water and give it some power, using 5 additional sponges as guidelines, it will clear out as much area as you have designated. So if I take let me put this back on so you guys can see. If I take the mechanized sponge and I put it right down here, and then come over to this distance and put a sponge there, and then I come over to, say, this distance in a straight line from the mechanized sponge, put that there, and let's put that sponge there, and let's make that one be there, and then straight up above it, almost there we go, put that there. What it will do is it will first be requesting power, and you can find out how much power by right-clicking on it. You can see that it is requesting 126,720 RF. And the reason for that is it is 40 RF per every single block of space, whether it's got water in it or not. That is within the, and including the confines of the sponge. Or no, not including. It's within the bounds. So from here to here, from here all the way to here, and then from the sponge all the way, or from the mechanized sponge all the way to up here, that area, that cubic area, for each cubic meter, it is requesting 40 RF. But if you give it that power, here's what the mechanized sponge does. Let me place this, here, and see. You can see how much power it's got. I will disable that and go ahead and set the output. So now it should be outputting juice. I don't see what's going on here. I turned that off. Oh wait, no. I needed that one orange. There we go, now it's getting power. And once it gets enough power, let's go ahead and make this a resonant one. So I guess I'm making it so that's facing it this time. There we go. It now has enough power, and what it will do, wow, is slurp up all the water and consume all 5 sponges. Now, everything is susceptible to water block updates, so things can fill in. So if you don't want it to fill back in, set off some sort of barricade around the area so that water doesn't start updating and filling back in. Otherwise, you will have just a misshapen area, and you can see that it slurped much farther in than it was when it started. But if you do set one of these up and want to go for the absolute maximum, the website says that you can go 48 in each direction. That, however, I discovered is incorrect. And I have some serious unloaded chunkage here. So, where's the sponge? Give me just a second here. There we go. If I come down here, I have set one up down here, and it is requesting that much go juice because that's the amount of area that I've cordoned off. And every 10 blocks. I put a redstone block just to mark it. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and then this is 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 47. If I change this over to be 48, like the website says, whoops, then this will call you a liar. So if I bring it back in to 47, there we go. It takes a few moments for it to update, but as you can see, now it is wanting go juice. So it is not a maximum length of 48, it is a maximum length of 47, and I'm not going to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. Why not? So let's inch over here, set that to that, and it's the front on this one. So it is going to be requesting, holy cow, 16.5 million RF. So, tell you what, I'll cut here, and when it gets closer, I'll be right back. Alright, now, what it's doing is it is filling up on RF, and it will do its thing once it gets the exact amount of the area that it needs. So it has to be the full amount before it will do its job. But, as you can see, it cleared out the entire area as soon as it got that much go juice. And this is probably going to have all kinds of little updates happening because of the water blocks flowing in. Maybe not. Interesting. And I had a little test job over here. You can ignore this. But, yeah, that's what it does. 95 by 95 by 47 area, and the mechanized sponge itself stays put. It only gobbles up the sponges that you place as the markers. But that is what the mechanized sponge does. And did I just get lost? No, I am. There we go. So the mechanized sponge, that is a wonderful device. If you can find the sponges and afford the go juice, it's great for clearing out an area of water if you want to. Because, well, why wouldn't you want to? Anyway, next up, let me put this stuff in here because I don't really need this anymore. Alright. Next up we have the water turbine, and the recipe for that is this here. You require 2 iron wheels, which I went over in the first part. 3 aluminum ingots, and this doesn't matter what type. Some sort of glass block and a piston, and that will get you 1 water turbine. And the way the water turbine works, if you place it next to something that produces pressurized water, like I went over in the transportation video, you will see that it rather quickly fills up. There we go. I'm having some update issues because I don't have any upgrades on that. That's why. But it holds 500 ml buckets, or half a bucket by default. You can make some storage upgrades and speed upgrades and things like that. But I have this energy cell here set to receive from the bottom. Okay, good. And not require power there. All right. And I have water pumping into here. That's where it's getting that. This is a pressure vessel. If you want to know how to make that, go watch the transportation video. But as soon as you apply redstone signal to the water turbine, it will start spinning and using the water that is in it to produce a modicum of RF. Not really a whole lot. And it can also produce MJ if it finds that it is not connected to an RF device. And it holds up to 250 RF. It's on its own, and that's what it does, is it generates RF. And you can have a whole bunch of these around a pressure vessel or a sluice, and they will all output RF. Now, they only output to the top, I discovered. The sides, no. The bottom, no. It's only the top, so you have to have the device up above it, and so keep your plans designed around that for like your piping and whatever. But similarly, we're going to go to the last item on here, and this one is frustrating. It is the gas turbine, and it is very similar. 2 iron wheels, a glass block, a piston, and this time 3 titanium ingots to get you a gas turbine. Let me put this guy back in here. And very similarly, it will pull from a fluid system like this tank that has natural gas in it, and it uses natural gas. So if I put it here like that, you'll see that it fills up. This one fills up rather quickly. Now, I don't know if it's a config problem with this mod pack or if there's something wrong with the gas turbine, but when you power it, though it is supposed to work the same, you can see it is filling up with the RF. And that's the problem. It's not supposed to be filling up. It's supposed to be going in here. And this is set to receive from all the sides. And it's set for off. And that's the exact same energy cells that. And I've tried all the other energy cells. And anything else that can store RF, I've tried. I was pulling my hair out. I could not figure out what was going on. So it's supposed to do the same thing that the water turbine does, only better. It puts out a good bit more oomph, but it's not, unfortunately. It might work just fine in the standalone Mariculture mod, so don't think I'm saying that this item specifically doesn't work. It's probably something wrong on my end. It might even be me doing something wrong, but I know that there's fluid going in. This is on top of it, and I've tried this on all the sides, and it is not getting any juice. So it's supposed to be like that, but for me specifically, it is not. But as you can see, it works. It just doesn't spit out energy. But that's really the only bad news there is. That was the complaint that I had about when I was mentioning it at the beginning of the episode. So if you do have any experience with this, especially in the Monster Mod Pack, and you know what I'm doing wrong, or you have a similar experience, please let me know in the comments. If there is a solution to this, I will update the description to include the solution to this problem. But that is the end of the episode. Those are the blocks. And this is all of the awesomeness that I have gone over, including the one-way mirror, which is really, really cool. It's a great idea. Whoever it was that did that, thank you for the fantastic idea. I'm totally going to use it. But thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Or if you want it to message me directly, you can message me at Thorn of Night on Twitter. If you like this video and you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to give a like. I do appreciate that. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you know when my future stuff comes out. Also, be sure to look out for the fish-related episodes for this mod. There is a lot to go over in that. I might have to split it between 2 episodes. But either way, there's at least one more episode coming, so come back for that if you need information on the fish. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here, so thank you once again for watching. This is Thorn of Night, and I will talk to you later.